Eze and Bruno have just had the first price drops. I'm going to reveal whether I'm going to sell them or not, along with other transfer tips, and you're going to get to see the latest fixture difficulty ratings from an attacking perspective and from a defensive perspective. I have got 2 free transfers, and it's very tempting to sell Henderson. He's got Chelsea away this game week. He has got a decent fixture next game week, and it's not the fixtures that bother me, it's the fact that the Palace defence has started quite bad. They've already conceded 4 goals, and it's not looking good so far in comparison to last season. It is important to remember 2 games is a small sample size, but I can't see them keeping a clean sheet at Stamford Bridge either. I'm definitely not wildcarding because my team's not that bad, you'll see that later on in the video, and I don't think I'm going to spend a free transfer on that position. As much as I'd like to upgrade my goalkeeper, I would have to spend an extra 0.5 mil to be happy. I would get Martinez from Villa, and right now I don't have that money in the bank. I'm not making 2 free transfers to change my goalkeeper and drop another position by £0.5 mil. I am just going to have to put up with the Palace goalkeeper and just hope the clean sheets start coming. In the first 2 game weeks, my backline has held up well. I've managed to get 5 clean sheets out of a possible 6. City let me down against Ipswich at home last game week. That was the one that was most favourable. They had a 60% chance of getting a clean sheet, and Ipswich went and scored. Trent is the least likely to get a clean sheet out of the 3 this game week at Old Trafford. However, he does provide the most attacking threat out of the 3, so he's still a decent option. Whilst the other 2 players don't provide as much attacking threat, they're still attacking defenders, and City and Arsenal have the highest clean sheet odds this game week. Whilst I've spent a lot of money on 3 defenders, I'm happy to keep them in my team. It's not just the attacking threat, it's having the 3 best defences in the league, which so far has proven to be reliable. But I am considering selling Gabriel next game week. They've got Spurs away, then City away. I can't see clean sheets in any of those matches, even though they've got a strong defence. So I might have to ship him on next game week. Keep an eye out for my game week 4 team selection video. In midfield, Eze hasn't delivered so far. Therefore, he's had a price drop. I don't think it's a good decision to sell him. He did actually have a goal ruled out, which he shouldn't have done in game week 1. And he's been expected to get at least an attacking return every other game, which is really good, especially for his price tag. My advice is to keep Eze and be patient. He's a 90-minute man on penalty duties, and now he's only 6.9 mil. I still think he'll provide good value for money. I don't think you should be selling him. His underlying stats are promising. Whilst it's not a favourable fixture this game week against Chelsea away, it's about as easy as it gets next game week against Leicester at home. Then United at home's not too bad. Same with Everton away, depending if Branthwaite's playing or not. Then it gets difficult from Liverpool at home. And if I am going to sell him, it is probably going to be ahead of game week 7. I brought Rodgers in as a £5 million enabler. Unfortunately, he's not produced any attacking returns yet. He's got 4 points in the last 2. That's not too bad for a £5 million midfielder, but I do need more of that. He's actually 5.1 now, he's got a price rise. I'm not surprised with how easy his fixtures are from an attacking perspective. It's Leicester away, Everton at home, Wolves at home, Ipswich away, United at home, and Fulham away. Those are favourable attacking fixtures, and what you can't see on the screen, he's got Bournemouth at home in game week 9 as well. So far, his minutes are promising. He's had 180, which I didn't expect. I did expect decent minutes because of pre-season, but not that many. I would say he passes the eye test, but that's from a footballing perspective and not an FPL perspective. I'm not really sure if he's going to be a decent FPL asset or not. He's not a big risk at 5 mil. I'm just hoping he starts to get those attacking returns, or at least get some big chances. I bought Bruno Fernandes because he was taking up those attacking positions in pre-season. He's on penalty duties, and he's typically a 90-minute man. He's not made it to 90 minutes twice this season, but I do think he'll start to hit 90 minutes consistently again. The problem is, he's not got any attacking returns from 2.1 expected goal involvement. Salah's expected goal involvement is just 1.7, and Haaland's is only 1.3. That just shows how promising Bruno's stats are. It's not that he's been unlucky, his finishing has been poor, but despite no attacking output, it's bound to come at some point. Those are very promising underlying stats. I don't think it's a good idea to sell him. I know he's got Liverpool at home this game week, but Southampton away next game week is promising. I know I might sound a little bit nuts when I talk about Bruno and Eze to casual FPL managers, but committed FPL managers who work with data will know what I mean, that the underlying stats do typically convert into FPL points. The expected numbers are better at projecting the future numbers than the actual numbers themselves. Someone who's overperformed their underlying stats is Saka. He's managed to get 3 attacking returns from less than 1 expected goal involvement. Obviously that's not sustainable, and his numbers will regress. I'm not saying he's a bad finisher, or his teammates are bad finishers for the assist, but his numbers are likely to regress. I do think he's a decent option this game week against Brighton at home. In fact, he is on the best captain shortlist. Make sure you watch that after this video. It's a pretty good one this game week. I am strongly considering shifting him on next game week. He's got Spurs away, then City away, while Salah's got Forest at home and Bournemouth at home. Spoiler alert, next game week I am probably going to make that move. and I will have to downgrade someone else. Therefore, I'll be keeping at least one free transfer this game week out of a possible two, and I'll reveal later on in the video whether I'm going to use that second one or not. It would be a bit of a hokey-cokey move. I'd have to bring Saka back in game week 6. He's got Leicester at home and Southampton at home, but for now, Salah in game week 4 and game week 5 is a captaincy option, and I don't want him out of my team. That's while Saka's got difficult fixtures. I'm almost certain that I am going to captain Salah in game week 5. Game week 4 there is tough competition though. While Salah's got that fixture against Forest at home, Haaland's got a fixture against Brentford at home, that will be difficult to choose, and the best captain video that game week will be a good one. My 5th midfielder's on the bench along with my other 2 defenders. I don't want any of these 3 players coming near my team. One thing that I do like is that they're promising in terms of minutes, and I've managed to even get a price rise out of Fast. That's not too bad. Some seasons you get players getting dropped, or even getting price dropped on your bench, so that is pretty good so far. I might even start Harwood Bellis against Ipswich at home in game week 5. That's while City and Arsenal face each other. If I've still got both Gabriel and Gvardiol, I might even start Fast against Everton at home as well. I don't mind starting any of these defenders if they've got a decent fixture, and the players in my first team have got difficult fixtures, but I do highly doubt that Winks comes into it ever, even if Rodgers faces Arsenal away or City away, and Winks has got someone like Ipswich at home or Southampton at home. I highly doubt he'll come into my first team because he's got barely any attacking threat. Before I move on to the forward slot, if you have got Nkunku in your team, I would personally sell him. I think he's too much of a rotation risk, and I bring in Rodgers. I know there's been a price rise there for Rodgers and a price drop for Nkunku, but you still have a decent amount of money in your bank for next game week. Rodgers has got favourable fixtures like I mentioned earlier, and Nkunku's too much of a risk because of his expected minutes. I do think he'll become a good option at some point, but right now I don't think he's worth it. I'm proud of myself for putting him down as a wait and see at the start of the season, and it was for this exact reason. Now I don't have to spend a free transfer on selling him, or eating a price drop. The squad structure's decent and I don't have to rip it up right now. Up front I've got Isak against Spurs at home. He has only produced 1 assist so far this season, which is underwhelming. He's still the main man up front for 90 minutes every match on penalty duties till Wilson comes back, so he will be staying in my team until that happens. But when that does happen, I do think he'll be straight out of my team because he's a bit of a minutes risk in terms of coming off early, and he will lose those penalty duties when Wilson's on the pitch, or of course when he's not on the pitch himself. But right now I'm going to be patient and keep him in my team. I've had nothing from Muniz so far. I brought him in because Fulham had the most favourable opening fixtures. He did blank last game week against Leicester at home. He's got Ipswich away this game week. It's another roll of the dice. Of course I'm not going to sell him. I've done the same with Pedro as what I've done with Nkunku. Bit of a wait and see. I have missed out on a couple of points there on Pedro. I'm hoping Muniz makes it up this game week, and I might even shift him onto Pedro next game week for £500,000 cheaper. I do need to free up some money to move Saka onto Salah, but there's a lot to consider. I know that I could optimise my team, but I have got no fires to put out this game week, and I do think the free transfers will be extremely valuable next game week when I want to shift around to get Salah in. I would ideally like to have 3 of them, so I am going to roll that free transfer and hopefully have 3 free transfers for next game week. That's providing my players don't pick up any injuries from now until the game week 3 deadline. And lastly is Haaland against West Ham away. I find it ironic how he got a price rise because he was bought by people who said he was too expensive. If you want to know who my captain is between Saka and Haaland, make sure you watch my best captain video. It's a cracker this game week, and I'm not saying either of these 2 players are the optimal captain. It could even be Palmer if you own him. Make sure you watch it and don't miss out.